know how the play ends, the lovers die, but I think the play feels like such a celebration of life. It does feel so celebratory in the sense that the characters are just so full of life. They live and speak and move and fight with such a relish that I think is really heart-stirring and soul-affirming and inspiring in any age, and certainly now when the world can feel so dark.
So I was really excited to get the opportunity to do a Shakespeare play and do the full 3 hours, since I had just trained in Shakespeare in London in the fall. And also I was really excited that Rotimi specifically was directing it, because I've gotten the opportunity to take Rotimi's acting classes, specifically Acting 2 Fundamentals. And Rotimi is such a big actor and he really pushes us to expand. So when taking on a show like Romeo and Juliet, I really wanted to take on these roles and be able to be larger than life and still make it truthful. In my 4 years taking classes here, it was the classes that gave me like the expansive body and the vocal variety and improvisation to like follow my impulses and be able to take on these large characters. And so when I was picking my capstone to cap off my senior experience, I wanted to be able to challenge myself and see how much I expanded.
I mean, doing Shakespeare is just so, I think, essential for any actor, because the material is so rich and you really learn how to like look at a piece of text. You can see, oh yeah, this is how I look at a play, and find the clues to the character, to the situation, in the language. Shakespeare was writing from a tradition that still informs our rhetoric today, and so we really got to break that down and play around with the rhythm of the language, how the rhythm, informs what the characters are feeling and doing, and I think that was really exciting, hopefully. I think it was, for students to learn. Certainly for me to teach. Yeah, I decided to do it in the round because I wanted to have that immersive feeling for the audience, to really feel like they're part of the action in that way, and to have that, I think, Shakespeare was writing for, in his theater, they spoke to the audience, and so I wanted to find a way to replicate that and not have that distance of the proscenium.
And it feels like they're really with us the entire time, like the audience is part of the world we're building. And it just makes it much more exciting because you can build off their energy too. Like you treat them as characters in the story, and sometimes I'll like have an objective to charm the audience, and that just is so cool.
We have these incredible lecturers who are designers, who are these accomplished, world-renowned designers, and then we have a wonderful student, Trini Rogando, who was a lighting designer for the process. And Trini is just so, talented. I mean, we have a wonderful theater-making program here. And yeah, and sort of the shadows and light that those artists are playing with, the opulence and the curves, and this, yeah, so we've created this very opulent setting with these lavish materials and these big skirts and these big hats, and everyone's really over the top, right? And it just feels like a really great container for the really large emotions and experience and feeling of the play. And for me as an instructor, we have 10 weeks in a quarter to learn a lot of things, but it's just not the same when you have this one play that we're all working on, and we get to learn it through practice, which is really ultimately what you do as an artist, and as an actor certainly, is that you have to do it. You can talk about it, you can read about it, you can think about it, but you have to do it.
Like there's so many wonderful theater classes at Stanford, but when you do a show, you get to actually put it into practice.
What TAPS 122P allows you to do is to really study the craft as you're doing the play, which is something that has been part of theater work historically in certain other countries or other traditions. People have months to work on a play, or longer than a few weeks, and so they have time to have discussions, or just learn this play requires a certain set of skills, a certain set of understanding, or a certain dramaturgy, and so TAPS 122P gives us a chance to do that.
Yeah, I think it speaks to how TAPS is kind of the best of both worlds, in that it's like a professional environment. The production is very professional designers, and the actors and students, we're expected to come in as professionals with lines memorized, remember the blocking, but then we also are still an educational institution, and so we have that class to be the training so that we learn the tools to become a professional actor. And it's just essential because it feels like we're being challenged, but at the same time we have the support to meet the challenge.